So at this point, I will discuss to you the arts education's threshold concepts. So it is useful to review some underpinning ideas or concepts in more detail. So some of these can be called threshold concepts. This is according to Meyer and Land. So in that way, they represent way of thinking about the arts that provide the basis of conceptualizing the discipline. So first is the arts are meaning making experiences. So we know our world in different ways. So we have scientific, numerate, and linguistic ways of knowing and making sense of our world. So typically, these ways of meaning making involve analytical, distance, and discursive conceptualizations. So we often lose sight of the fact that there are other ways of knowing the world and expressing our knowing. So, according to Matthews, so knowing in the arts is what Matthews called somatic knowing. And this way of knowing is embodied and involved the senses, perception, the mind and body, action, and reaction. Next is arts learning is praxis based. So the arts are forms of praxis. So this means that learning in the art involves embodied and live through experiences. Then embodied cognition is a growing field of cognitive science that recognizes the significance of the knowing body or acquiring knowledge and understanding. So, research shown that our sensory motor experiences contribute to our problem solving, language, and conceptual understandings, and they are integral to our decision making to the extent that people with heightened body awareness make better decisions in a range of unrelated situations. So, this is according to Claxton. Next is developing arts literacies facilitates expression and communication in the arts. So being literate means being knowledgeable and able to function in a particular subject or field. So therefore, we can talk about being math literate or music literate. So being on the early work on the New London Group, so the proposition that children needed to be multi-literate or literate in a range to learning domains in order to function in the contemporary world has underpinned the development of curricula in recent decades. So before the invention of the printing press, so which allowed for the mass production of written information, so people needed to be able to function in a society that relied on oral forms of communication. Then, next is creativity is at the heart of arts education. So human beings are creative by nature. Otherwise, we would all still be living in caves. So ancient people saw the possibility of making fire by rubbing sticks together and of moving things, especially with a will. And this does not mean that every society is every period in history has placed a premium or creative thinking. So sometimes armies of laborers were needed more than innovators, and sometimes respecting tradition was so highly valued that art forms didn't change for hundreds of years. And today, so many societies are moving into a period where creativity is being valued very highly. So, using the term creativity, the difficulty with the term creativity is that we use the word rather than loosely. And we say that's really creative when looking at a painting. But what do we mean? And when someone puts together a toy plane from a craft kit, we might explain, "You are so creative, but what do you mean?" So sometimes there is no creativity at work, but rather a skillful completion of a project requiring manual skills and the ability to follow directions.